show. Make sure you check us out over at tclub.team. We love you. We appreciate you. We're going to continue to talk about it here on TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime. The great William Pattison is on the way next. We love you. We appreciate you. Peace! And G to the B to the O.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
And here we go live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. It's the Playbook presented by VIP Play with Brett Hullander and Alex Sarkis. I'm William Pattison. We appreciate you listening along with us on this fine Thursday from Knoxville, Tennessee. Plenty to cover over the next 2 hours, including our eyes on the Blazers. UAB comes to town on Saturday. We'll give our deep dive into the preview for Saturday's matchup. Obviously, the Blazers aren't as good as what we saw this past weekend against the Bulldogs, but this is a team that you still have to respect. And as we talked about yesterday, it's 1 week at a time. It's one game at a time. We'll dive into the offensive and defensive side of the ball for the Volunteers up against this UAB team. A little bit later on, we'll talk about getting zapped from the portal. The NCAA might have finally done something right, folks, as they are going to adjust the transfer portal window. No more spring guys entering in after a full winter camp and all of this stuff. The NCAA might have actually done something right. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, as well as our best bets look ahead presented by VIP Play. One game tonight in college football, Rice and Charlotte. I'm going to stay away from that one. And I bet on Charlotte in week one. I watched a full 3 hours of them play football. I'm not going to be able to do it tonight. So staying away from that, but we do have a loaded slate of games this upcoming weekend, so we'll continue our best bets look ahead in preparation for tomorrow's official card. In hour number 2, we'll do buy or sell in college football. Plenty of teams that have jumped out of the gates to begin things, plenty of quarterbacks and players that have jumped out of the gates. Other teams have had a little bit of a slower start. We'll tell you which ones we're buying, which ones we're selling at the top of hour number 2. And then also we've got Thursday Night Football tonight, a divisional matchup in the AFC East between the Dolphins and Bills. We'll tell you what to watch for in that one tonight. As always, we'll have our final thoughts at the end of the show. But before we get into our first things first topic, let's welcome in the rest of the crew, beginning with Brett. Brett, how are you on this Thursday?
Good, man. Just another day for me. My routine stays the same most days. So, nothing new to report on my end. Just I hate these weeks leading up to boring games and blowouts and things like that.
Well,
I want to wipe these off the map.
Still depressing, Brett.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you this, Brett. It's something about just once football gets going, these weeks fly by. It's crazy. Today's Thursday. I don't know about you guys, but I woke up this morning. It's like, man, it feels like a Wednesday. Like, obviously it's like a day before, but these weeks fly by once the college football season begins.
Because of your show change?
It might be that. I mean, obviously, so, for some of our new listeners in this slot, I've been doing 6 to 8 for the last 2.5 years. So now It's like adjusting to that. I get home, I'm on the couch at, 6:15. Usually I'm in midway through my first segment during that time. So
that's true.
That might be because of the adjustment as well. But
yeah,
I don't know. I just feel like you spend all summer, kind of talking about the same type of talking points. Like, one day you'll talk about the receivers, next day it's the offensive line, and you just kind of recycle through the same stuff. Now we have so much new content to talk about every single day.
It's true.
It just flies by. So I think it's a little bit of both.
Yes, I can understand that.
First show with Alex. Alex, how are you, man? So excited to have you on, full time now. And how are you on this Thursday?
I'm great. It's good to be on the Playbook. Took one day off, but we're back at it. Good to be on the ones and twos again and jumping in here a few times. But yeah, it's really nice to be back.
I guess I haven't seen you. You had a mixed bag last weekend because you had the West Virginia Pitt.
Yeah, well, that's I was saying I was like, it could have been a disastrous weekend. Steelers lost.
Oh yeah.
Tennessee loses, but the Mounties pulled it out for me. So
yeah,
it could have been a mess of a weekend. But
just to fill you in, you probably know do you know the backstory with him being Pittsburgh?
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't.
So I'm from Pittsburgh and obviously go to Tennessee, but yeah, I mean, I grew up a West Virginia fan, so
okay.
I'd say a little bit more of my bias lays with West Virginia, but yeah, real huge Pittsburgh guy though.
I've got a buddy of mine that transferred there this year
to West Virginia.
Wow. Devontae Golden Nelson. I went to high school with him. He's a cornerback.
I know that name. Yeah.
Tough loss against Ohio, but bounce back win. That was impressive this week.
Good football team, as Pat McAfee said. Ohio.
Yeah.
Athens is a tough place to play.
Yeah, for sure. That's one way to look at it. All right, let's dive into our first things first topic, and we'll begin with eyes on the Blazers as a new week presents a new opportunity for number 15 Tennessee as they look to bounce back from a narrow defeat against Georgia and close out a 3-game homestand against the Blazers of UAB on Saturday afternoon. Kickoff scheduled for 12:45 p.m. Eastern Time on the SEC Network. And it will be the 6th meeting between Tennessee and UAB. The Vols have won all 5 of the previous meetings, including a 30-7 win on November 2nd, 2019 at Neyland Stadium. And Josh Heupel early in the week said, quote, at the end of the day, in this game, you have to constantly move forward and you have to take advantage of every day. You can't look in the rearview mirror. You have to look out the windshield and keep driving forward. And that will be the motivation and mindset of this Tennessee team coming off a very tough loss at the hands of the Bulldogs. But as we talked about yesterday, the margin of error in this 12-team playoff format is a little bit wider than years past, so you still have plenty of opportunities to go. And we'll begin talking about this UAB team. I know Brett doesn't want to talk about these trash matchups, but hey, we have to. This is another game on the slate for Tennessee. And from some early scouting, UAB was a team that lost a couple of big-time players in the portal this past offseason. Mike Beebe Jr., the running back, who was all-conference last year, he ended up transferring to Indiana, just got hurt this past week. Really tough blow for the Hoosiers. But he was really, really strong last year. Now they're trying to figure out some of these new offensive pieces with Jalen Kitna as their quarterback, and that might be a name that some people remember. We'll talk more about him here in a second. But Trent Dilfer has had a little bit of a bumpy road since arriving in Birmingham. This defense is more than a bumpy road. I don't even think they've paved it yet with the way they, when you look at the numbers, I'll read them out a little bit later. Not very good. But this is a UAB team that offensively can hang around, and they're very dynamic in the way they can get up and down the field. So I don't think this is a strong strong out of Power 4 football team by any means, but offensively, they've got a couple of Power 4 players that have been in other places. They can trip you up. We've seen time and time again over the last couple of years for Tennessee. You can't overlook any opponent. Last year, UTEP came into this building and, was able to make that a half. It was very interesting for that first half for the Volunteers. We obviously saw Austin Peay in 2023. They made it their Super Bowl. When you have teams like this coming to Neyland Stadium, this is a huge opportunity for every single one of these players and a marquee matchup in their eyes to showcase what they can do. And many of these guys will probably have aspirations of hitting the portal and trying to land at a Power 4 school. This is their opportunity to showcase it. So I always think it's important to talk about that mindset because, yes, this is UAB and it's not an SEC powerhouse, but a lot of these guys are going to be motivated to play in Neyland Stadium and play to try and put on some good tape against a respectable and top-tier Power 4 program in Tennessee. But quarterback play, I think, is solid. The offense is very dynamic. They integrate the run game and the passing game pretty well. The defense is a whole different conversation, but my early scout on this team is a little bit more one-sided in what they do offensively. Guys, have you had the chance to look at it or maybe look at the stats, numbers for this group? What do you make of UAB, beginning with Brett?
Not very good. I have not looked at UAB. I've not been very concerned. I've still been down from past Saturday, but you should be able to handle your business. And I think they're a little better than ETSU, but I feel like the game could go along the same lines, especially if your offense is still clicking the way it was this past Saturday. I mean, you score 41 on a Kirby Smart team. You can only imagine what that does to, your weaker opponent. So I'm not expecting too much from UAB putting up a fight this weekend.
Alex, what about you?
Yeah, I think I would side with Brett. I think it's going to be interesting, though. This is the second team that we've had come in that has had a former Power 4 former Power 4 quarterback come in, and you had that with ETSU and McNamara, and I think it's just interesting to see. It didn't prove a problem when ETSU came in, but yeah, I mean, it's a thing that the Tennessee defense will have to be aware of, obviously. But it's UAB, and you saw what Tennessee offense did last week against the Bulldogs, and defense is going to be looking to play a lot better, but I'm sure they will, considering it's UAB. So yeah, I mean. But it's just the quarterback thing is interesting to me.
Yeah. Well, we'll focus on that defensive side of the football, as that's been kind of the weak point for Tennessee to begin this season. Much different than it was last year. You would wish that you could have a strong defense like you had last year and the offense playing like it has so far this season. But the case for this current 2025 iteration of the Volunteers is the offense is strong. The defense has shown a lot of weak points. And the Vols know they will face a new opponent defensively when it comes to dealing with the Blazers' balanced offensive attack this weekend. Josh Heupel talked about this Blazers offense, saying, quote, "We have to do a great job against the run with who we're facing, what they do offensively, shift trade motions, communications at all three levels, and then the pass defense," Heupel said. Quote, "Again, when I talk about pass defense, you guys hear me say this a lot. It's all 11 being a part of that. It's communication, second and third level, it's pattern recognition, in our zone concepts, and it's applying pressure to the quarterback, which can be just your front four, but it also can be any of your 11 guys that are in the package." And talking about the expectations for Tennessee defensively Saturday, I think you need to have a much improved outing and kind of make a little bit of a statement. Now, obviously, Georgia's a really good football team. They've got so many talented characters like a Zachariah Branch, ranging all the way to the running back game with Nate Frazier. A lot of really talented players. UAB's not going to be as talented, but this is the opportunity to make a statement and say, we are getting better week to week. We are improving on things we struggled with last week. You saw a lot of man-to-man coverage in the secondary. I expect these guys to win these matchups this week, because if you can't win them against UAB, then we've got a big problem. And if you're not able to get to the quarterback consistently and put a lot of pressure on him to take off a little bit of the pressure of your, young defensive backs like a Ty Redmond, then we're going to have a problem. So this is the opportunity, like ETSU, where you held them without a first down for the first 6 drives, an opportunity to make a statement and say we're continuing to evaluate and get better. So I look for that Saturday to continue to improve in aspects, but I look for some of these guys that may have been banged up over the last couple of weeks. I hope a Jackson Moy is able to at least play a little bit Saturday. You don't have to, roll him out there and play him, 30-plus snaps. Just get him back acclimated, because that's going to be a guy that you're going to have to take to Starkville and have the confidence in getting into the backfield. I don't know if we'll see David Hobbs. Obviously, we don't get an SEC injury report with this not being an SEC versus SEC game. But again, that's another opportunity for a David Hobbs to get involved and just get his feet wet, as he hasn't even played yet this season. And for Ty Redmond, a guy that you're going to have to lean on for the foreseeable future, we don't know the timeline right now of a Jeremiah McCoy or a Ricky Gibson. You're going to need a Ty Redmond to get some more reps and win those reps, as he struggled with that on Saturday in 7 targets, 6 receptions for the Bulldogs against Redmond. So just looking for incremental improvements, continuing to get to the continuing to get to the quarterback like you did Saturday. I thought the Vols did a good job with that. I thought the run defense was improved from that Syracuse second half in particular. But if Tennessee is going to win games in the SEC with the current iteration of what we saw from this defense on Saturday, you're going to have to apply enough pressure quick enough to allow for these DBs to have a little bit of wiggle room. So I just look for a more refined product on Saturday, have the opportunity to maybe get some guys back in the mix that have missed some time, but also win those one-on-one matchups in the secondary so that you can continue to get good film and get and learn as you go up against a Mississippi State team here in a week that's going to want to run the football, going to want to throw the football with Blake Shapen. Jeff Lebby, an offensive-minded guy. He's really smart. A tune-up game for the defense and correcting some things.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. That's another big talking point was, as good as our offense was, our defense struggled mightily against Georgia, and that's a big concern because I do still wonder, is it a one-off for our offense to go out and score 40-plus points? And, if the defense doesn't improve, your offense is going to have to continue that. So I kind of agree with you. I'm not overly concerned with. We saw Redmond play against some weaker competition, and he was lights out. A lot of the defense was, but I think you got to think his confidence is a little bit shot. So it'd be nice to get him back on the right side, mindset, that sort of thing. And I think this is a perfect time for this type of game to get that confidence back. And I don't know about Moy and Hobbs. Moy, I would think, would have a better chance than Hobbs, but those guys are kind of veteran guys. They played a lot of football for Tennessee, so maybe you're not rushing them back, and you feel confident you can throw them out there against Mississippi State without any snaps this weekend. So, but I mean, I feel like a lesser opponent. It's just all about, can we get up for the game after a big loss, noon kick, whatever. Those cliches they have. So I'm interested to see the energy level from the defense because they do have that power forward quarterback. It's got some arm talent and things like that. So you got to be ready to play still and can't take anything for granted, but hopefully get our confidence back up after a shaky one against Georgia.
Yeah, Alex.
No, I totally agree with that. What a great confidence boosting opportunity here for Ty Redmond. I mean, got a guy last week, he gives up that touchdown on 4th down. For a young guy, that's something that he's probably been thinking about and probably will think about for the rest of this season. But what a great get back opportunity before you go on the road in its first true road environment in Starkville. And I'm sure that locker room would like to stay in an SEC mindset, but you got UAB. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise for that defense.
Sure.
Build that confidence up going into what's going to be a tough game in Starkville. You remember last year, Mississippi State ran the ball well against Tennessee, and not that running the ball is going to be probably an issue for that defense this weekend, but just build that confidence. It's going to be important going into a true road SEC atmosphere.
Yeah, a couple of good points by you both. I like the confidence part of this as well for Ty Redmond. And instead of, how I kind of just focus on the X and O's and getting more reps, the confidence, a big thing mentally for these 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. It's the phrase is like, you got to just see one go through the hoop, right? Yeah. You just got to see, one good game, one good rep happen. And that's how a guy can immediately get his confidence back. Obviously a tough week last week. He understands that. The opportunity this week to get back on the right track and build towards that. And Brett, you mentioned, talking about kind of these cliches about a 12 o'clock kick playing a UAB.
Yeah.
We've seen this time and time again in college football, folks. Notre Dame last year coming off a big-time win over Texas A&M. Oh, Northern Illinois is coming into town. We'll roll right through them. And then you get to the fourth quarter, and it's like, we're in panic mode. Mm-hmm. So I'm not predicting that for this week and saying that Tennessee is going to be susceptible to something like that. But in these type of games, this is where teams can really get derailed or have seasons completely unfold. Kind of like Florida, too. I mean, Florida goes up against the South Florida team that is obviously impressed during the early portion of this year. But that was one of those look-ahead games to, we got to go travel to Baton Rouge next week. South Florida beat Boise State. That's a group of 5 team. We'll take a break. And they were undisciplined as can be and ended up losing that game because they continue to put themselves in tough positions. Again, not saying Tennessee's going to be in that against UAB, but overlooking things and not focusing on the task at hand can get you in trouble in college football in 2025. Let's focus on that quarterback for UAB, Jalen Kitna. Now, he's a guy that was recruited by Tennessee and head coach Jeremy Pruitt as the Vols offered him a scholarship on March 4th, 2019. Kitna has started all 3 games for the Blazers in 2025, completing 70 of 100 passes for 892 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. And he started the final 8 games for UAB in 2024, recording 2,209 passing yards, 17 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. The 6'5", 225-pound quarterback began his career at the University of Florida before transferring to UAB. I'm not going to go into details of why he was no longer at Florida, as you can go look it up for yourself. A very ugly exit. But in a sense, I'm happy that he's gotten back on his feet. That's obviously a really bad situation to be in. But he's rebounded now, finds himself at Alabama Birmingham, and has at least had the opportunity to prove his skills and show what he can do. But, I get it. It's UAB. But which defensive back are you looking to step up this week or improve upon what you've seen so far against a former Power 4 quarterback? Alex mentioned it earlier. Cade McNamara, a guy you saw a couple of weeks ago against ETSU, the former Michigan and Iowa quarterback. Jalen Kitna, now a former Florida quarterback, Power 4 level guy. Which one are you looking to step up? And for me, it's Farouk, because I go back and watched the film last week, and I thought there were some really strong plays from Farouk tackling, and there were other plays where his angles were bad and missed a lot of tackles. And I was frustrated during the game, just watching there in the stands. Obviously, it's a little bit easier to see the all 22 and go back and watch the game, slow it down. But when I was in the stands, I was like, in the critical moments, I thought he missed a lot of big plays. So I look for him this week as a guy that's kind of been thrown into this situation with all of the moving pieces in the secondary, the Jeremiah McCoys and, Ty Redmond now having to play, Ricky Gibson, Boo Carter. I wish we would see more of. I mean, again, we talked about it on Monday. Yeah. Why is Boo Carter not playing, 70 plus snaps if Georgia's getting 90 on Saturday? But if Farouk's going to be a guy that continues to play, I look for his tackling angles to improve, and I look for him to have an opportunity, maybe get some confidence, as y'all were talking about with Redmond. But Farouk, the guy I'm watching for on Saturday for the Volunteers and that defensive backfield. Any guys you guys have an eye on?
I mean, Turrentine struggled a little bit too. I think he had a bad angle on Zacharias Branch's score.
Yes, he did.
Screen pass.
Yeah.
I mean, why he was going underneath the first block, I don't know, but I'm not here to try and tell somebody how to tackle, but
sure,
or angle pursuit or whatever you want to call it. But I mean, the secondary as a whole, I think really struggled. I mean, I think Colton Hood had a good day. I mean, they didn't really go after him. I think they really keyed on 4. I mean, I hate to keep attacking him, but if you're out on the field and you continue, I'm surprised he played he said he played almost every snap of that ball game.
Yeah.
But when your options are limited, you're not playing Boo, then, those things are going to happen. So I'm just looking at the secondary as a whole, that sort of thing. But nobody in particular. I just think that as a unit, they just need to try and piece it together. And I mean, Farouk's young, Redmond's young. So, I think it's just the unit as a whole just need to be a lot better, because it's not going to get any easier once you get back into conference play with some of these quarterbacks and skill position players.
Alex, anyone for you?
Well, I think I would go with Redmond, and that might be the layup answer, but I think that's the biggest answer is because you got to understand, he's in a tough spot as a true freshman, obviously. And I mean, last week, Georgia goes after him on their first play from scrimmage and hits a 40-yard pass down the sideline. And for me, it's all that confidence. He's still learning. There's going to be growing pains, and last week we saw that. But he just needs to get in a rhythm. And I think he'll be all right. Certainly, we know what he can do. He showed it against Syracuse, and just get geared up for that matchup. I also think, kind of what Brett was saying, just the position room as a whole. There were some bad missed tackles on Saturday that I thought were, especially towards the end of the game, Georgia would run a screen and Redmond missed a tackle or two, and Turrentine, and I think those are some of the things you really need to clean up, and you don't want to see that kind of stuff in this game. There should be, I always like to say, you can't learn anything really positively from your team about, like, in these games against UAB, but you can definitely learn a lot of things that aren't good.
Yeah.
So I think, they just got to play sound football, make the plays that are in front of you. And I think, they do that. That's a great way to build confidence.
Another guy too, I'll mention, Colton Hood, I thought was a little bit quiet last week at times.
Didn't have to do much.
Yeah. And that's good.
But out pretty well.
He's a guy that I think did his job last week, but he's a playmaker, right? So I want to see him maybe get involved and make a play or two, meaning like, get an interception, a fumble recovery. We saw that early in the year. And obviously it's the same thing that applies for an offensive lineman. If you don't hear about them, they're probably doing their job. And Hood did well last week. I really think his only miss was on that 2-point conversion. That was his assignment. Zachariah Branch ended up catching the touchdown or the 2-point conversion pass. But it was a good week for him. I want him to make a play, though. This is the opportunity to do that up against the UAB team.
Do you see, a good performance helping us down the road from the secondary? Like, I just wonder if teams adjust, because I think Georgia did a good job because we tried to provide cover, but Georgia attacked us in the run game. So it's kind of like I don't know what you call it, but like you saw to start second half, I think we tried to provide cover. Georgia ran the ball right down our throat. So I'm kind of at a loss at how you go about this if you're Tim Banks with the secondary in a weak matchup.
Well, I think you just have to find the balance, and that's the biggest thing, balancing out both ends of your defense. Obviously, you've got to get healthy on in both aspects, and in both sides, to where that's where you can really get a grasp of what this unit will look like. I thought Jackson Moy not being available last week was really tough because you would have loved to rely on him a little bit more if you're going to drop back and play coverage. David Hobbs, a guy that we had high aspirations for in the summer. Would love to see him play. But obviously, I mean, McCoy and Gibson not being out there, it's going to be tough anyway. But I feel like if Hobbs and Moy are able to get back on the line and live up to their expectations, you could see more coverage because then you could get the amount of pressure necessary inside. But I think it's a fair question for Banks. I just think you've got to find that balance. And right now, it's tough to find it with so many guys that are missing or not in the game. I do want to mention the offensive side of the ball for Tennessee up against this UAB defense because, folks, these defensive numbers are something like out of a horror movie, and it's not in a good way. UAB has gone up against Akron, Navy, and Alabama State so far this season, and these are their defensive numbers. Scoring defense, they're averaging 36 points per game allowed. That's 122nd in the country. And keep in mind, folks, 136 teams play college football this season. Total defense, 473 yards a game, 131st in college football. Third down conversion rate, if you get in third down on Saturday, don't worry because this team allows 58% of third downs to go the opposing team's way. That's 132nd in the country. Rushing defense, 219. That's 131 in the country. And then passing yards per attempt. Every time a quarterback drives back against this group and throws it, it's a first down. 11.4 a throw. That's 135th in college football. And then explosive pass rate, they also rank 135 as well. So the numbers, not very good, and scream a big day for Tennessee's offense. I have the same approach that I had against ETSU, though. Let's get these guys rolling early. Let's, pound them, take a little bit of anger out from last week in that first half, have Joey Spirals, go for about 250 yards and yank them, and then start to get some of these depth pieces in, some of these younger guys. Quick to note, Rodarius Jackson not going to be available for the Volunteers at wide receiver on Saturday. He took a big blow against the Dogs in I think that second half, but he's not going to be available in this one, but a big opportunity for a Travis Smith Jr., Joakim Dotson to get involved offensively. I still think one of those guys, or really one of those three guys, is going to have to fill in at some point this season. This is the type of game where you get these guys acclimated and have them, run a couple of different routes that they might not get the opportunity to do in practice when they're running with the twos. Get these guys acclimated is what I'm watching for, and I expect this Tennessee offense, 42 points first half. Is that crazy to say? I mean, with a defense this bad, I think that should be almost the expectation. 35, 42 points at halftime, pull the guys, and let's see what some of these young players could do. That's my expectation for Saturday. Would you guys share the same?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, as long as we come out and, running good routes and different that we've seen, you would expect. I'm interested to see if we can get the run game established again as well. You only average like 3 yards a carry. I know against a stout Georgia front, but you'd like to see that kind of get going again and things like that. Maybe a little more star. I think he's proven to be your number one guy. So, I don't think it's crazy to say 35, 42 points at half. I was wrestling if we cover that number. I don't feel confident that we cover the number of 40.
39, 40,
39, 40, whatever it is. I don't think we get quite there. But, I expect you to handle your business fairly well this weekend.
Tennessee so far undefeated against the spread on VIP play, 3-0. Alex, what are you watching for on the offensive side of the ball Saturday?
Same thing you guys have been saying against ETSU. They had close to 50 points at halftime. And this is my question, do we see that school record of points in a game, 72, threatened on Saturday? I think we could. There's people over at my home outlet, the UT Daily Beacon, that are picking Tennessee to surpass the school record, 72 points.
That would be a lot. I don't know how Trent Dilfer would take that. He'd probably have a little mini crash out on the sideline if that were the case.
I mean, if the defense is this bad and we're ranking in the 130s, I mean, I think it's well in play, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm not even looking at our number. I'm just wondering their number because they're not like horrible offensively.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Our defensive numbers aren't great either.
Yeah.
We're giving up 30 a game right now, aren't we, or something?
Yeah. Tennessee right now ranks.
I know it's Syracuse and Georgia, but
Tennessee right now ranks 115th in the country in explosive play rate. Now the Blazers a little bit worse in that category, as we mentioned, 135th. But defensively, I think the number in play is going to be the thing to watch for. But I don't think that's a bad take, saying that Tennessee breaks the record. That'd be something. 2 records in one season, 2 records in 4 games.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you saw Merck and McIntyre even went to the bench. We're slinging it.
Yeah.
They both threw a couple touchdowns and things like that. And our backup runner, 4th, 5th running back scoring a couple touchdowns. So maybe Boo gets a punt return.
Maybe.
He's got to watch that punter.
I think Boo will get a punt return.
Okay.
Hell, maybe
I think he will. That might be my other.
You never know. You can steal some points that aren't offensive only, I guess.
Hell, if things get that out of hand, throw Boo at quarterback, see what he can do. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll check the live chat real quick before we head to the break. Buck says expectations should be pain, lots of pain, and put them to bed early. I agree with you there, Buck. A hot start for the Volunteers, very key on Saturday. When we come back, we'll talk about the new transfer portal timeline that the NCAA is proposing, whether that's a good or bad thing for college football. We'll break it down when we return right here on the Playbook, presented by VIP Play on Fan Run Radio.
Take Fan Run Radio with you on the all-new Fan Run app. Just search for Fan Run Radio wherever you download your apps.
The number one problem we see at our clinic is delaying treatment. ED can get worse.
Book your appointment right now. Call 865-544-8220. Prefer privacy? Book online in under 30 seconds at menspronknoxville.com.
At our clinics, men's sexual health is the whole job. Look, I'm a normal guy too. I hate going to the doctor, but we've helped so many guys in here just like you. Even if pills have failed, our medical team is going to take the time to talk you through it. Same day in-house lab, and the treatments, well, they could change your life.
Your local medical team has your back. ED, performance, Peyronie's, size and shape modeling. We tailor what works for you.
I'll get to the point. Can you imagine epic performance and epic sex? Yeah, I said it.
A stronger you is closer than you think. We're available right now. Call 865-544-8220 or book in 30 seconds or less at menspronknoxville.com. Men's Pro Knoxville, making it happen.
Okay, so we really need uniforms and equipment for this season. Can I trust you with that? Cool, I'll just order them online. What? Yeah, I'm going to hop online and I'm going to get them ordered. Hold up, that's not a good idea. We shouldn't just spend money on some random online retailer, okay? I mean, it seems pretty convenient. Trust me, it's a terrible idea. Let me simplify this for you. SM Athletics. Okay, how do you pronounce it? SM Athletics? They're the go-to for uniforms and equipment, whether it's for universities, high schools, youth leagues, you name it. So why wouldn't you rather go with professionals who can guide us through the process, design the perfect uniforms, and deliver the best equipment? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. What's the name again? SM Athletics. Right. It's definitely smarter to go with a company that emphasizes customer service, fair pricing, and, of course, excellent products. Exactly. So, yeah, I guess it's settled then. For uniforms and equipment for all sports, it's SM Athletics.
Tired of waiting for the weekend or good weather to play around? From casual to committed, Back 9 Golf has got you covered. Open to the public and offering flexible membership opportunities, they offer 24/7 access to 5 different simulators, providing cutting-edge technology, instant swing feedback, fun mini-games, and a wide variety of courses to choose from. Perfect for that solo round you want after work, or swing by with food and drinks for an afternoon with friends and family. No stressful tee times, no rain delays. It's Back 9 Golf your way. Book your tee time now at theback9golf.com.
Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, Ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
Rickard Ridge Barbecue, located in beautiful Cove Lake State Park. Rickard Ridge is home of the best ribs in the volunteer state. Smoked daily by pitmaster Mark Rickard. The barbecue at Rickard Ridge is mouth-watering, fall-off-the-bone delicious. Take the scenic drive up I-75 to exit 134. For directions and to look at the rest of the menu, visit Rickard Ridge online at rickardridgebbq.com.
All right, back here on the Playbook, presented by VIP Play. We appreciate you listening along with us, whether it be on the free Fan Run Radio app, 105.7 FM or 1340 AM here in K-Town on the local dial, or on the X/YouTube live stream. However you're listening or watching, we do appreciate your time and appreciate you folks out there using the YouTube live stream chat. We appreciate your activity and getting involved in the Playbook today. All right, let's move over to College Football National, as college football spring portal was eliminated by the NCAA's administrative committee, leaving the sport with just one window for players to enter the portal. The committee announced the move on Wednesday, but stopped short of ratifying the Division I Football Oversight Committee's proposal for a 10-day winter portal, which would begin on January 2nd. Now, the length and dates of the proposed January window are still up for discussion and will be considered at the administrative committee's October meeting. But this might be the first move that the NCAA has done correctly in ages, or maybe ever, because the spring portal, as we saw right here in Knoxville last season, was a disaster and is a disaster. My thing has always been, I get it. The transfer portal is now a part of college football in 2025. NIL is a part of it. We just have to live with it. And I'm fine for players to, move and try to find a better opportunity. If a group of 5 guy wants to go to the group of 4 level, or the power 4 level, let him do it. If a power 4 guy wants to drop and maybe get a second chance at the group of 5 level, I totally get it. But allowing for guys to move to a new spot in January and, go through winter practice and all this stuff, and then come April, be like, I don't like this place either. Let's try it again. You're promoting a free agency, and you're promoting a lack of any stability, and that causes chaos for teams and coaches that are trying to formulate your rosters. Like, imagine you bring in a winter portal class, right? And you've got all your guys that you believe are going to be on your team. You're going through the playbooks and the plays and what we're going to do this year. And then you've got a cornerback that's kind of fighting for a position that doesn't want to fight for one. He gets up and says, I'm leaving. Like, it just creates a loser mentality for me. And while I do think there are tons of things that could be added to the transfer portal in terms of regulations and stuff like that, like, for me, you get one transfer, and if that doesn't work out, you got to sit out the next time. You're creating a culture of these guys going 4 different places. You see some of these graphics. TJ Finley, 6 years of college football, 6 different places. I don't know how the guy can, he's got a professional moving service as a part of his NIL deal to, take all of his belongings all across the country. That type of stuff promotes loser mentality. Promotes a guy that isn't there for the team, that is just there to find the best dollar sign. And I know that's what some guys want to do. We saw one of them pick up and leave and go to Southern California. Look how that turned out for him. But I at least think this is a baby step towards getting better and making the portal more regulated. Getting rid of the spring portal, I think, is a great idea. The winter portal is when these guys should make up their minds. And if they don't like their decision, you should have, I guess, gone through the recruiting process a little bit harder. I don't know what to tell them. Guys, what do you make of this, beginning with you, Alex?
Well, I think it's interesting because Joey Aguilar wouldn't be here if it weren't for, or would not be here if it was the next, this next season. So I think for Tennessee fans, I mean, is this something that, I mean, obviously, you're losing a prior top recruit in Nico, but you bring in a guy like Joey Aguilar, who so far has been an upgrade. So I think it's interesting to see people's reaction on this. I agree with you though. I think will be a good thing moving forward. I mean, I've grown to dislike the free agency feeling of how college sports has progressed, but no, I think it's very interesting seeing how Tennessee fans react to this with everything that Joey's given them so far.
That is true. I mean, Joey came by way of that Nico Iamaleava decision because of the spring portal. Joey was able to find his next destination. Would not have been the case had he decided to. But at the same time, Alex, though, Nico wouldn't have had the opportunity to do what he did.
Very true. Yeah.
So it goes both ways.
It does go both ways.
Ended up working out for one school. The other school just fired their coach this week and is still winless on the year, but that's neither here nor there. Brett, what do you make of the move? Is it smart and a good decision?
I'm torn because how does this affect teams in the playoff?
Okay, yeah, good point.
Like teams are still playing football. Like they're practicing, they're getting ready for opponents. Like I can't remember the start. I think it was right before Christmas was the first round of playoff games. And then teams right after Christmas are trying to prepare for the next round of games. So I just wonder if it's a fair for everybody involved. Like you hope Tennessee's playing, but at the same time, you're like, you might have guys that are trying to get out or have already entered the portal. Are they allowed to stay on the team, but still be in the portal? Like, do you kick those guys off the team because clearly they don't want to be here? So it's interesting. I wonder if you could do this in the summer, like, after school's out through the spring, and then do a summer transfer window and have people enter that. That way you can get enrolled in school during the summer, different things like that leading into fall, more so than, the season's still going January 2nd. Yeah. That's the only thing I look at.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. Here's where it gets messy, though. The reason why that winter portal is what it is they're trying to get guys enrolled in classes by the time that winter classes begin at a lot of the institutions. And those differ across the country. Mm-hmm. And while I totally agree, talking about, teams that are playing in the playoffs, they're getting their guys poached, and they're having guys like Bo Perbula last year, quarterback, the backup for Penn State, did not want to leave the team, but he's like, Coach, I don't have a choice. If I don't do this now, I can't go, or I'm not going to get the best offer, the best deal for my future. And that puts those guys in a tough situation. Like a Bo Perbula wasn't entering the portal just to go have a spending spree. It was Drew Aller's coming back.
He left before the season was over.
He had to. Didn't have a choice. Yeah. And he still practiced with them. I think they were leading up to the Orange Bowl before they took on Notre Dame. And he went to practice that morning and had to enter the portal that afternoon.
Because Aller, didn't he say he was coming back
he did.
point or not?
He did. And that's why he ended up that's why Perbula left.
Perbula didn't have any eligibility though, right? This is his one and only season. Am I right?
I don't know about his eligibility specifically.
Yeah, I was just wondering. That's why he left as well.
But I know that he knew he wasn't going to play ahead of a Drew Aller this upcoming year. But that's the tricky part with this. And obviously the committee is still having to meet to figure things out in terms of the timeline. But the issue is that you've got guys that are trying to enter the portal, and they've got to get into those institutions for that spring and winter enrollee time. And, that's why you have to have those college football playoff teams get poached. But I think it puts a strain on them because they're preparing for a championship for this season. And then you've got half of your staff trying to figure out and identify the guys for next season. So I think that's a really tough situation. The same applies in the NCAA tournament for basketball because the portal opens after the first round.
Yeah.
And you've got, 16 teams,
most of the top teams.
Yeah. Most of the top teams are still playing basketball. And you've got guys entering the portal, so it's it just always bugs me. I know there's not a perfect solution to this because you're not going to be able to rework the academic calendar to allow for transfer portal players, but it's a tough situation. But I think you make a good point.
But they haven't said you said they haven't decided how long it's going to be open.
Correct.
So it could be that there is time, even once the season's done, to go in the portal and find people. But I guess the school calendar, which you speak to, is the interesting one here.
Yeah, the school calendar is tough, and it's kind of ironic that the school calendar is what they got to focus around because a lot of these guys are just taking
Aguilar couldn't get here because the school at UCLA was different than at Tennessee, right? Like he was trying to finish up classes during that spring period.
Correct.
As well.
UCLA goes till. I don't
they don't even get out of school.
Yeah, UCLA. I think just started this week, if I'm correct on that. They have a very weird schedule, but. That's also the reality across the country, though. Everyone has different schedules, different timelines to where, not every school starts January 7th or 8th. Like Tennessee has that mini term doesn't start till like after, was it Martin Luther King Day? Right? Is that right? Does that sound right? President's Day, one of those.
That, yeah.
So that's the issue with it, but I totally agree. In a perfect world,
how many teams, like the top teams, really go in the portal? Like, how many portal guys did we have come in during those 2 windows that they even had? Like, I can only think of a handful of guys
this past year that came in.
Yeah, like Aguilar. You had the offensive lineman.
You had Aguilar,
Star Thomas.
Yeah, Aguilar, Wendell Moe, Sam Pendleton.
It wasn't a huge number, so
Star
maybe it's
Thomas,
not
Colton Hood. Colton Hood was a spring guy.
Yeah.
Colton Hood was a spring guy,
and that was because that was huge too. Because we found out that McCoy got hurt in January.
Yes.
So maybe I can't remember if the portal was closed for the winter at that point, and then you identified, hey, we need another corner here.
Yeah.
So. There is a blessing to having those two. Now that you think about it, like the extra window.
Yeah, I think just go ahead.
No, I won't say that.
Oh, I think it could go both ways though, because and you bring that up because now this might incentivize kind of knee-jerk reactions because some kids will wait it out till that spring portal to see where they are on the depth chart or something like that. But now with this winter,
get more money from that school.
Well,
we saw Ricky Gibson,
again, the yin and yang
Mike
to
Matthews,
it. Yes,
people like that.
I feel like it might make some of these guys feel like they have to because, like, going into January, if they know that they're probably, like number 2 on the depth chart,
they know.
They might just say, well, I don't have a choice. Like, if I want to go play, I have to. But again, if Jeremiah McCoy goes down and that guy that left would have been the starter in line. So it's like, I feel like this now might make some of these guys make these knee-jerk reactions of, I've got to get in the portal because I'm not going to have another opportunity. Would you guys agree with that? Or you see where I'm coming from there?
No, I totally agree with that. And I think it's one of the scariest things for a college athlete to do is commit. You're forced to commit now in terms of where you want to be. So, like for a guy like Nico, obviously that was kind of kept behind closed doors for a little bit until the end of spring ball.
Yeah.
But, if he would have been unable to do that, I mean, what are we seeing this year from Tennessee? Are we seeing the locker room falling apart because your starting quarterback doesn't want to be here? So I think that's the kind of stuff that could you see that happen if there's NIL disputes or stuff like that? That could be a concern with getting rid of the spring portal, but who knows? I mean, there will certainly be NIL disputes in the future. Another guy, Boo Carter, had a similar situation to that. He's obviously still at Tennessee, but that's a thing you got to, I think, be wary of with getting rid of the spring portal as well.
Yeah, most definitely. I think it's kind of a yin and yang to both outcomes.
It's tough. It's really it's a tough scene to navigate.
Yeah, because for a team like Tennessee, you benefited from the spring portal by being able to go get a Colton Hood when Jeremiah McCoy went down. You also had negative impacts when your starting quarterback Nico Amaliava decided to pick up and leave. And this happens across the country. Plenty of teams, feel like they have their roster set in place, and then all of a sudden, here comes spring portal. All right, everyone enter in, and it's a free-for-all. But at the same time, like some of those teams need that. Let's say you didn't evaluate correctly in the wintertime, and you want to go add a depth piece here or there. Tennessee added a depth piece in the spring portal too. The FCS transfer on the defensive line. And he's been hurt. We haven't even seen him play. I mean, talk about real depth piece. I mean, he's deep down the depth chart, but stuff like that. Just trying to find maybe one more guy here or there. I think it goes both ways. So I don't think there's a perfect world, but I do think eliminating more outcomes by taking away the spring portal could possibly do much better and do more better, more good. More better is not a word. More good. I'm so sorry. Errors and omissions early on. More good than it could do bad. Real quick, checking the YouTube chat. Quote, I don't like it, but it is what it is. The university, the fans, nothing but that money is what matters to a lot of these players. And that is true. Some guys I feel like still come into certain schools because they want to play there, get developed. But I feel like if you're in year 3 or 4, it's about where can I go and try to, make a quick buck before I have to go work for Enterprise here soon. So when we come back, it's our best bets presented by VIP Play. Our best bets look ahead, I should say, presented by VIP Play. Stay right here. It's the Playbook presented by VIP Play on Fan Run Radio.
You're listening to Fan Run Radio, the sports humans.
Hey, football fans, this is Stats.
And this is the Sheik.
And together we are the Cover Boys, and we cover college football like no one else.
Each week, we preview all the big games in college football, and we may not tell you who's going to win, but we'll tell you who's going to cover.
Our patented right sides are clicking at 66% against the spread all time.
So join us right here every Friday evening at 8 for the Cover Boys on the official voice of Tennessee fans, Fan Run Radio.
And enjoy the winners, everyone.
Hey Knoxville! Surfside iced tea and vodka made with real brewed tea is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
Dick's House of Sport at West Town Mall is a destination devoted to sport, and it's your destination for exclusive events and experiences. Come visit a store like no other. Check out our 40-foot rock wall, golf performance center, Hit Tracks batting cage, and outdoor turf field. You can now rent our space for private events and birthday parties. Learn more about our events and exclusive product launches on Facebook and Instagram at Dick's House of Sport KNX. Dick's House of Sport, proud partner of Tennessee Athletics.
For over 3 years, Crumble Cookies has served the Knoxville area. From Clinton Highway to Parkside Drive, even our friends out in Maryville have reached you, our fans, with the best cookies in the game. This fall, Crumble is gearing up for yet another fantastic season. Whether you're tailgating or looking for a pick-me-up after getting the kids from school, Crumble has you covered. Download the Crumble app to check out this week's rewards and features. And stop on by. Tell them Fan Run sent you, but don't miss the cookies.
Merritt Garage Doors and Services has been serving the East Tennessee community since 1963. At Merritt, quite simply, the customer comes first. Their door specialists will not try to needlessly upsell you because they are not commission-based like other places. This allows them to focus on your needs and not their pockets. They offer a range of beautiful garage doors in a variety of styles to suit the architecture of your home, and they will supply and install a wide range of garage door openers and accessories to take your garage door to the next level. To request a quote or schedule a service repair call, visit merrittgaragedoor.com.
Citizens National Bank. Are you getting penalized because you can't make it to your bank on time? No need for unnecessary roughness. It's time for a new game plan. Easily manage your accounts with Citizens National Bank's mobile banking app. Check your balance, deposit a check, and pay a bill, all from your phone with CNB's mobile banking.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
Are you tired of spending hours on laundry and ironing? Let Crown Cleaners handle your dry cleaning so you can handle your business. Our expert team can take care of your clothes, removing stains and wrinkles like they were never there. Whether it's your best suit or everyday attire, we handle it all at Crown Cleaners. Say goodbye to laundry stress and hello to extra free time. Crown Cleaners, Big Orange Country's imperial dry cleaning service since the 1960s. Online at crowncleaners.com.
All right, back here on the Playbook, presented by VIP Play. We appreciate you listening along with us. Now time for our Best Bets Look Ahead, presented by VIP Play. Folks, college football and NFL are officially back, which means you've got to get in on the action. The best place to do it is the VIP Play app. Go claim your VIP Play welcome bonus, and when you do, you'll get $100 instantly in bonus bets by using the code FANRUN. That's FANRUN in all caps to claim those bonus bets when you bet $5 or more. There are new and more improved deposit and withdrawal methods that make the app completely seamless. The best version of the app is right now, and that means you've got to get on the action. Whether you want to take Tennessee minus 39.5 or 40 this weekend, whether you want to bet on the Tennessee Titans to get a win in NFL, whatever it may be, you can do it on the VIP Play app. Gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 years or older and located in Tennessee to bet. All right, let's take a look at our best bets. Look ahead, the action in week 4 that I am eyeing. We've talked about a couple of these games this week, and we've seen a little bit of line movement, and I'll bring that to you. Nebraska still at 2.5, but Oklahoma now up to -7. That's a key number, folks. As you were getting the 6.5 earlier, you were getting under a touchdown of insurance for Oklahoma, but now it sits at +7. I talked about it earlier in the week. I like the Sooners in this matchup. I think Jackson Arnold has had a good start to the season, but he's yet to play an SEC-level defense. Brent Venables is going to have a heyday in my eyes with Arnold, who had a ton of success running against Baylor. Not going to be able to do that against this Oklahoma defense. I still lean Oklahoma -7. We'll move on to Illinois and Indiana. This one has been all over the place, folks. We saw this open at 3 earlier in the offseason. Now, this week, we got to 5.5. It went all the way down to 4.5. It went to 5.5. Now we're at 6, even for the Hoosiers. I like both of these teams. Illinois, I think, has a really underrated defense. If this one continues to climb, I might just have to take the value of Illinois in this one. This would go against my system bets of rank versus rank matchups. Take the home team if they're favored by 3 or 21. But Indiana right now continues to climb up the ladder. I do like this Indiana team, but I want to respect this Illinois defense. So currently don't have a side right now. My slight lean would be Indiana -6, but we'll have to see how that one moves. All right, probably the ugliest bet I know I'm in a place this weekend is going to be Florida plus a 7.5 if it stays true. I know Florida is 1-2, and I know DJ Lagway threw 5 interceptions last week, but this defense has only allowed 2 touchdowns through 3 games. I have to back this group despite what they have shown offensively. I think Miami is a well-oiled machine. I think this is going to be a college football playoff championship contender. But this is a rivalry matchup, and Florida's defense has lived up to the hype. If I'm getting the hook at +7.5, I'm probably going to have to lean with the Gators in this one, as ugly as it is. And if they lose this week, they're on the no-bet list. I don't have to worry about them again.
Can I ask you about one?
Sure, go ahead.
Arkansas at Memphis.
Arkansas at Memphis. So
7.5.
Yeah, 7.5. You're getting the hook there with the Tigers. I would lean Memphis right now because this is also a look-ahead spot for the Razorbacks, as they've got a little bit of a gauntlet coming up.
Yeah.
A Notre Dame here in a couple of weeks. Again, I'll say it again, the oddest game of the college football season. The fact that Notre Dame is traveling to Arkansas.
Yeah, noon.
But the Tigers have been solid.
Yeah.
They were a small favorite against Troy last week, coming off of the Trojans' performance against Clemson. And Memphis had their way. They smashed that total or smashed that spread pretty easily. I lean Memphis +7.5. I don't know if it's going to make it into my official plays, but Brendan Lewis, the transfer from Nevada, has done his job. And Brandon Clues had one of the catches of the season last week, a one-handed nab against the Trojans. I like Memphis. I know it's my hometown.
Sneaky playoff. It's a big
I
one
know.
towards that.
I had them last year as my group of 5 team. They were so close.
Yeah.
Who knew that they were giving out playbooks? Randall L. ended up giving them to McCown, but
they're on Stallions.
I didn't have them this year. UNLV was my group of 5 selection this season.
Gotcha.
But maybe I should have held on with Memphis. I don't know. Big matchup for them in the Liberty Bowl on Saturday, but not an official side on that one. I'd lean Memphis +7.5. But folks, tomorrow, make sure to tune in. I'll have my official sides for this weekend. And we'll get ready for, hopefully, another successful week of college football, coming off a 5-2 week. We're up units on the season like we usually are. So make sure to tune in tomorrow, same time. When we come back, hour number 2, buy or sell college football. A lot of storylines heading into week 4. We'll tell you the teams and players that we're buying and selling. And also we'll talk Thursday night football, the Dolphins and Bills. Should be a fun one if you're a fan of the Bills. But we'll break it down when we return right here on the Playbook, presented by VIP Play on Fan Run Radio.
The flagship station for Tennessee football. Fans. Fan Run Radio.
Today, we raise a glass of Jameson Irish whiskey to the sport of football. Hear, hear!
To Gaelic football, born in Ireland in 1885 in its thrilling blend of soccer, rugby and basketball. On a massive field, 15 players kick or hand pass a round ball to score points over a bar or into a net. No pads, no helmet, no sense.
Hear, hear!
to college football, which kicked off in 1869 when Rutgers beat Princeton 6-4 in the Battle of New Jersey. With 11 players in helmets and pads, teams battle on a 100-yard gridiron with explosive pass plays and hard-hitting tackles. Unless you're called for targeting.
Hear, hear! Since 1780, Jameson Irish whiskey has been enjoyed by sports fans all around the globe. Whether your football is Gaelic, American, or even soccer, we can all agree on super smooth Jameson Irish whiskey. Hear, hear!
Attention service members and veterans. Introducing the Griffin Law Firm, your trusted ally in military legal matters. From court martials to benefit claims, at Griffin Law, your mission is their mission. Here's VFL Marshall Griffin.
As a veteran and retired military attorney, I've successfully defended lifelong benefits and helped preserve professional futures. So I know that when you hire a military justice lawyer, you maximize your chance to get relief. With my unique experience, I can advocate for you because there's no military matter that's too big or too small. Let us help you make these critical decisions that could affect the rest of your life. Remain silent. Request counsel. Call Griffin Law.
For a free consultation, call 888-707-4282. That's 888-707-4282. Or just visit griffinlawdefense.com.
We really need to get some branded stuff. Shirts, hats, promo items, something professional.
I mean, we could just find a website and order a bunch of it ourselves.
You could, but you're taking a big risk. You don't know the quality, the fit, the timeline. It's a roll of the dice.
Yeah, I guess. But isn't that how everyone does it now?
Not the ones who actually care about how their brand looks. Look, if we're putting our name on it, it needs to be done right. We need SM Athletics.
SM Athletics?
Yeah, they specialize in working with businesses like ours. Apparel, hats, promo gear, but real, customized stuff. They actually care if it turns out right.
Probably a lot better than getting stuck with 100 t-shirts with crooked logos.
Exactly. Plus, they'll walk you through everything. Sizing, colors, material, so it matches the image we're trying to build.
Makes sense. What's the name again?
SM Athletics. Trust me, if you want to look like a real company, not a flea market stand, this is the move. If you're serious about your brand, work with people who are serious about getting it right. SM Athletics.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
And here we go. Hour number 2 on a Thursday, live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. It's the Playbook presented by VIP Play. Brett Hollander, Alex Sarkis. I'm William Pattison. Great stuff. In hour number 1, we'll continue it here in hour number 2 as we'll do our buy or sell college football edition here in just a second, a little bit later on. We've also got Thursday night football to talk about, the Dolphins and the Bills. Could be a big one for Miami as things have quickly been crumbling for them early into the season. But Buffalo, solid start for them. 2-0, a big win to begin the year. And last week they looked impressive as well. This would be a big division win early on into the season as well. So we'll talk about all of that. Also have our final thoughts. Real quick before we get things kicked off, I'm scrolling on Twitter during the break. Grant Williams donated $1.5 million to Tennessee Athletics. A good move from him. Obviously, he's one of the great VFLs that we've seen over the last 10, 15 years, a guy that is constantly still involved in operations with Tennessee. And he was a big reason why Tennessee was able to swing Nate Ahmet not too long ago as well.
David Sanders, I believe.
Yeah,
well.
David Sanders.
They went to the same school, right?
Yeah, well, Sanders is a Charlotte guy. And
I can't remember if they went to the same school or not.
I don't know if they're from the same school. I know they're both from Charlotte, though. That's where Grant's from originally.
And he donated some to softball and then the business school
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, which I love that.
Yeah,
I
incredible.
love that. Yeah. So good stuff. Tip of the cap to VFL. Oh my God, Grant Williams. Sorry, it slipped my mind there for a second. Just talking about tip to the cap to Grant Williams.
Also, they said they're going to announce the 9-game schedule. Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
Tuesday.
So next Tuesday we'll have some fun. I hope it's either before or after 1 to 3. So it doesn't happen right during the show, but
right.
I mean, we could be. On overtime, I used to do live reactions for the college football playoff when they would do the rankings. So maybe we could have a live reaction if they decided to do it.
I bet you did get a lot of good stuff to talk about on your show during, leading up. I know the drive would get stuff, but you led into it as well.
Well, I'd literally have like the whole news day cycle. But then the tough part about it was you couldn't really talk about the game from like the night before because it had already been so overcycled. So there was a balance.
Good and bad.
There was a balance.
Yeah,
to
that's
it.
true.
But today, this 1 to 3 slot, though, you get a little bit of everything. You talk about the game from last night and also lead into some of these midday storylines.
Usually noon's a good time for stuff to pop.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I like it, man. Yeah. I'm not complaining at all. I love the news, the new slot. All right, let's switch over to buy or sell college football edition. We're a quarter of the way through the college football regular season, and 6 of the teams in the preseason Associated Press Top 25 have already lost games to unranked opponents. ACC favorite Clemson has lost twice, and Notre Dame has yet to win. Kansas State, which was supposed to contend for the Big 12 championship, has lost 3 times, including losses to Army and Arizona. College football has been chaos already. That's the fun of this 12-team format. There's so many different implications each week, and it is not disappointed so far this season. But as we're a quarter of the way through, it's time to gauge the stocks on the teams and storylines across the country with our segment, Buy or Sell College Football. So I'll present a buy or sell. Tell me if you're buying, tell me if you're selling, and explain why. We'll begin with Georgia is the best team in the SEC. Now, the SEC is an impressive 9-2 against the other Power 4 programs heading into this weekend. And while a lot of people like this LSU team, I believe Georgia right now is the best team in the SEC. I think Georgia has the most explosive, receiving core with Zachariah Branch and Colby Young and Dylan Bell and Noah Thomas. I think they established the run this week up against a respectable opponent in Tennessee. Obviously not as good of a defense as we saw last year, but establishing the run and the line of scrimmage has been a concern for the Bulldogs in early portions of the season over the last couple of years. And Gunnar Stockton looked the part. I think Gunnar Stockton's the big needle mover for me here. And it's not that I never doubted that Georgia would be able to, figure out at quarterback. Hell, Stetson Bennett, a guy that, should be selling burritos at Chipotle, was able to win a national championship for him. They've always been able to figure out the quarterback. But this weekend, I was really impressed with him. LSU, if we're being real, Clemson does not look as good of a win right now. Florida threw 5 interceptions, and they were only able to win by 10, and their offense didn't even score 20 points. It was a pick 6 that inflated that number. So while I do think LSU is good, and while I do think Texas has the best roster in the country and the best roster in the SEC, I buy that Georgia's the best team in the SEC right now. Brett, buy or sell Georgia?
Yeah, and you look at their schedule, they get the 2 tough teams at home, Bama and Texas.
Yeah.
They go to Auburn, and Ole Miss is at home. So you like their schedule. You got to think that Kirby's going to figure out the defense. I think that was kind of an anomaly. I think that, maybe our offense is just that good. It might be the best offense they see all season long. So I'm buying Georgia as the best team. I think LSU's really good, but I think it's more so one side of the ball, and maybe it's an easy fix for them. But talk of Nussmeier may not maybe hurt as well down there. So yeah, I'm buying Georgia, I think.
Alex, buy or sell Georgia, the best team in the SEC?
I'm with you guys. I think Kirby Smart's the best coach in the country. He showed it again this past weekend. He's the only guy that's won in Neyland in the past handful of years. And Gunnar Stockton, what a dog and of a throw he made on 4th down.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of throw. I remember sitting up there and I was like, what a moment for a guy that had so much speculation coming into that week, whether he'd be able to handle the environment. And he just let it all go.
Like
right
the
there.
6th guy on the depth chart.
London
Humphreys was a big-time transfer, but from Vandy. But
just an unbelievable throw.
Catch, no doubt about it.
All right, we'll move on to buy or sell. Arch Manning is a bust. Now, Texas's starting quarterback, the preseason favorite to win the Heisman, ranks 83rd in passing efficiency after 3 games. I know a lot of people want to call this guy a bust, but I'm selling this. I think Arch Manning still can be really good. And I think right now his issue is mechanics and kind of a little bit of a case of the yips. I don't know who's instructing him to throw it sidearm, but this is not the MLB, and you're not trying to slide it in to the strike zone. Like, quit throwing sidearm. Let's be more accurate. Let's be more structured. And there were some whispers of that this offseason when scouts or people would go watch their Texas practice. Be like, I don't know. He's got this sidearm tendency. I'm sure someone in that locker room or someone on that coaching staff has got to say, quit doing that. Because you look at the throws, a lot of them are just whiffs and way out of the, way out of orbit.
Yeah.
I think he'll be fine. Obviously, things could get a lot worse when they start playing tougher opponents. The fact that they've got like UTEP and Villanova and all these teams, yeah, I don't know. And the fact that they're getting away with that is crazy.
Yeah.
But they do play a tough SEC schedule. But I'm not willing to buy him as a bust yet. I'm going to sell it. I still think he can be improved. I go back from last year to this year. Even against the bad teams, he was good last season. This year, 11 of 25 on Saturday, that's unimpressive. I feel like it's a little bit in his head, but the mechanics have got to be fixed. I'm not willing to sell, I'm not willing to buy that he's a bust just yet. I'm going to sell it. Alex, Arch Manning is a bust, buy or sell?
I'm selling as well. You know what I think the big problem is here? The bar was just so high to start this season. Preseason Heisman favorite. It's a young kid, and I understand out of high school, you're one of the most anticipated recruits of all time, but you're playing quarterback at Texas, and they haven't gotten into the SEC play yet, but he will. I don't think he's going to be a bust. I mean, we have not seen we know what his good version of Arch Manning looks like. We saw it last year, and I think he can grow upon what he was last year, but like you said, I think it's a mental thing as well. He's carrying a lot of weight on those shoulders this year, being the quarterback for that team. I think Sark's a good coach.
Yeah.
I think he can get him back on track. And I think we're going to look back at the end of this year, and these 3 games to start the year might be an anomaly when we get to the end of SEC play.
Yeah, you mentioned Sark. Just don't ask him if Arch Manning is hurt or anything like that. He'll give you the oddest answer I think I've ever heard in a press conference. Did you guys hear that?
I didn't. I saw Brian Kelly's, though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so they were asking, like, did you see Arch Manning after he threw a throw and had
He
some
had
like
grimace,
pain?
yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't watch you guys when you're using the bathroom. It was just a weird
How you
weird
hold
statement
it or something.
yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
It was weird. Buy or sell, Arch Manning is a bust.
This is a hard one because, I mean, if you're playing bad quarterback against bad teams, what are you going to do against a good team? And maybe you guys are looking at along the lines of mechanics and things like that, but I'm not seeing it right now. It's unfortunate his last name's Manning. He probably wouldn't even be at Texas right now. So it is a tough one. But for me to decide on, because the schedule's not going to get any easier. I mean, will he make better throws? I'm gonna buy that he's a bust.
Okay.
I am. I think I've seen enough. I think there's a reason Sark didn't put him ahead of Ewers, and Ewers had some issues, but not to this extent.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna buy the bust.
Okay. Buy or sell, Miami can make it to the national championship with this squad. The Hurricanes are averaging 40.3 points per game and 7.2 yards per play, and have only turned it over twice thus far this season. And they have 2 wins against some pretty good football teams. Notre Dame was one of them. Obviously, this weekend they'll have the opportunity to do it again against the Florida squad, but they just mantled South Florida over the weekend, 49-12. The biggest thing for me is the defense. Corey Heatherman comes over from Minnesota, who was a defense coordinator last year for the Gophers that put together a top 10 unit in college football, comes over, and Miami actually has a defense. Last year, they couldn't stop a cold. This year, Reuben Bain Jr. and company have been all over the field. I buy that this is a team that can make it to the national championship with Carson Beck playing this dialed in, having the type of chemistry that he has with a CJ Daniels and I'm trying to remember the freshman who was so impressive in the opener against Notre Dame. Slipping my mind. But they've got a lot of options in this receiving court. The running game isn't as star-powered as last year with a Damian Martinez, but they've got a good collection of guys. Offensive line has held their own. But the defense is the biggest reason why I believe this could be a team that makes a march to the national championship. Mario Cristobal, Not the guy I would necessarily want to back in the postseason, but right now I will buy that Miami can make it to the national championship with this squad. Brett, buy or sell, Miami national championship contender.
Oh yeah, this you're buying this one. I mean, they're on pace to be one of the top seeds, probably get a bye, something like that. So Carson Beck, I mean, looks like a new, rejuvenated guy. Their schedule was very manageable. I know they go to Florida State, but that's pretty much it. Maybe this weekend's tough, but yeah, I'm buying this team. I think I've seen enough.
Okay, Alex.
Yeah, I'm with them. And is there a guy you would rather have at quarterback than Carson Beck? He's, one of the most veteran guys in the league. He's been there before. He's played in all the big games. I mean, there's not a guy that I don't know that I would pick. And it's a shame that we really weren't having this conversation last year with Miami when they had Cam Ward. And it's just
defense, like you said.
Exactly. It's a defensive
different
thing. So, look, we put those pieces together, and I agree. I'm buying. I think Miami will be there in the end.
Yeah, Miami's defense last year in 8 ACC games allowed 30 points or more 5 different times. That included the treacherous California Golden Bears and Virginia Tech in their own building.
Yeah,
this year.
Crazy.
Been a totally different story, though. But you talk about Carson Beck, right? And it's funny because you mentioned Memphis earlier, too. I was big on Memphis last year in the group of 5. Carson Beck was my number 1 quarterback going into last season, and he played the way he did, and I looked like an idiot. And now he's playing like the way he should have played last year. But I think it's just he's now comfortable in Shannon Dawson's offense to where he's got some good receivers around him, but they've got an identity established to where I think they have a more established run game than Georgia did last year. The offensive line, granted, they haven't played against that tough of a defense yet, as Notre Dame with Chris Ash has been a disaster. But I feel like they have a more established way and method of winning offensively. And Carson Beck is a really smart guy. And I think the way he processes down the field has been impressive so far. Outside of that C.J. Daniels one-handed catch, which I thought was a horrible football to throw,
right? He's
been really, really good and has kept everything, at bay and not made those kind of erratic mistakes like he did against Alabama last year, where he
did throw 2 picks past weekend.
He did.
That was his struggle last year.
He did.
With too many turnovers. So we'll see how he continues on that. But
he did.
He just looks healthy, and he was getting sacked a bunch last year.
Yeah.
They look like they can protect him.
I'd say this weekend, it kind of felt like they were trying to run up the score a little bit and have a little bit of a fashion show. And sometimes once you get a comfortable lead, you get a little bit looser in your decisions and reads. That Notre Dame game, though, he was dialed in. That was really, really impressive. Their other game they played was Bethune-Cookman. Obviously not a game to take a whole lot of stock in, but I'll give Carson Beck credit. A tough offseason, the injury, the off-the-field stuff.
Yeah.
He's been good this season and handled everything well. All right, buy or sell. Ohio State is the best team in the Big Ten. They are currently ranked number 1 in the AP Top 25 poll. Looking at the Big Ten overall, they are 5-5 against other Power 4 conferences this season, with Michigan losing the only top 25 matchup at Oklahoma. And then last season, the Big Ten went a combined 14-10 against the SEC, ACC, and Big 12. Will that continue to trend this season? We'll have to see. But I am selling that Ohio State is the best team in the Big Ten. I think there are 2 legitimate contenders right now that I would probably line up on a neutral site field and say they're better. First one is Penn State. I was really high on them coming into the season. Drew Aller, I know a lot of people have mixed opinions on him. I used to give him a ton of crap. I used to say my phrase like 2 years ago was Drew Aller can't hit a side of a barn. And in the regular season last year, he's dialed in, completed 70% of his passes. The playoffs last year, a much different story. Was not able to get over 60% in any game. Obviously had the big-time mishap against Notre Dame late in the Orange Bowl. But this is an NFL roster. I mean, they got tons of guys. Nicholas Singleton, Katron Allen, the offensive line is strong. They returned 9 guys from last year's offense. And then defensively, Zakee Wheatley and A.J. Harris in the secondary. Denai Dennis-Studden on the defensive edge. This is a good football team. I think they are just as good as Ohio State. And I think the most slept-on team in the top 10 right now is Oregon. Now, Oregon hasn't played anyone, but they dismantle teams. Oklahoma State shouldn't even bother getting on the bus. 69-3. Are you kidding me? You had the 4-stringers doing hat tricks in terms of interceptions. They had back-to-back pick sixes against the Cowboys. But Dante Moore is really, really impressive. And I think he's flying under the radar because Oregon hasn't played a big-time matchup yet. I'd say Oregon and Penn State are right at Ohio State's level. I'm going to sell that Ohio State is the best team in the Big Ten. Alex, buy or sell Ohio State?
I'm buying that Ohio State is the best team in the Big Ten. But before I explain why, what a week for you next week is. Oregon travels to Happy Valley for a whiteout, huh? And we're going to find out about both of those teams. No, I think Ohio State, when we look at it, I think I am not a big Drew Aller fan after what I watched last year in the postseason. I think that mentally might have had and that's been a concern for him over there for a while now, I feel like. And, I feel like the fan base is a bit divided on him. You've even seen what Bo Pribula's done at Missouri in his first few games. Yeah. It's an interesting thing. But yeah, I think Ohio State's the best team. I think they're going to win the Big Ten this year. I think the gap between Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State is very slim, to your point. I think like those three teams could easily line up on any field and compete with each other very closely. I just think Ohio State has that extra edge. I think Julian Sayin is a very competent quarterback to handle that team. And you look at guys like Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw what he did to everybody in the playoff last year. And, I think that's the kind of guy you need to win a conference like that. And I think they will.
Now, the question is, you say you think they're going to win the Big Ten championship this year. What do they do in the final week of the season? Do they beat Michigan this year? Is that going to be – because they go to the show. They do go to the big house.
They do go to the big house this year. It's going to be interesting. But they are going to be pissed off going into that game, as they should be. And no, it's going to be interesting.
I don't know, Alec. They've been pissed off for the last 4 years, though. They haven't won. They haven't beaten them in 5 years.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But we'll see. I mean, I do think. Look, don't get me wrong. Ohio State's a very good football team. I've been impressed with their year over year. Last year winning the national championship, having so many guys leave, and then this year almost not skipping a beat. Jeremiah Smith seems to getting back in rhythm. He kind of had a quiet day against Texas, but Sayin and him turned it up against Grambling State. I felt bad for Grambling. That should be illegal, by the way. Jeremiah Smith should not go up against Grambling State ever again.
Jeremiah Smith should be in the pros right now. He doesn't need to be in college football.
Yeah. It's wild to think that he would have been the number one pick last year. Had it
this year too.
Both years. It's unbelievable.
Buy or sell Ohio State, Brett?
I'm buying. I mean, they're Ohio State. They're going to be there in the end, and until I see it from Franklin and even Lanning. He hasn't won many big games either. We talk about James Franklin, but Lanning beat him last year in Oregon. But yeah, I'm rolling with Ohio State. I think they'll only get stronger as the season goes. We'll see about the Michigan game. It's a rivalry game. It's tough no matter what the records are. I'm interested in Ohio State this weekend, traveling to Washington. It's going to be that should be a fun game. I know people are really high on Washington as a 9, possibly 10-win team. So that'll be a good little test for them. And then I think Illinois or somebody down the road. So I'm buying Ohio State to be on top at the end of the season.
All right, buy or sell. This year's wave of, quote, top-tier quarterbacks were overrated. Right now, I think I'm going to have to buy it because when you look at the group as a whole, they have shown moments, but it's not been consistent. I think a lot of the guys that were slept on have been better. John Mateer was a guy that I had in my top 10, but was not considered like the top group. John Mateer has been really, really good. I did not even have Dante Moore in my top 10. He's been really impressive. Drew Aller hasn't had the opportunity to play a big-time game yet, so the book is still out on him. But I think out of the top-tier guys, like Garrett Nussmeier is the only one that's looked serviceable enough to live up to somewhat of the hype. They're still undefeated. The final couple drives against Clemson I thought were impressive. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, the group as a whole has been underwhelming, and it's been more so the guys that you knew about but didn't get talked about a ton that have been more impressive. Devin Dampier, I want to give a lot of credit to him. The transfer from New Mexico, now at Utah. Big matchup this weekend, by the way. Good quarterback matchup, too.
That's a great pool.
Yeah, Baron Morton for Texas Tech, and then traveling over to Utah. That's a 10 o'clock kick local time, a.m., by the way. But Devin Dampier, a guy that flew under the radar. I like him a lot. I mentioned Mateer. Sawyer Robertson was a guy that I was high on. Now, obviously, Baylor's defense is horrible, but, I mean, that guy's thrown for damn near 1,000 yards in the first 3 weeks of the season. I just feel like these top guys got a lot of credit and a lot of hype, and kind of similar to the Arch Mannings and DJ Lagways, they've underperformed I would buy that the top tier group was overrated heading into the new year. Brett, buy or sell this wave of quarterbacks?
Buy, and I don't see it getting better. I really don't. Likely, I think it's going to have his struggles. Nussmeier's been underwhelming. I mean, Arch, we've mentioned. I'm buying that. The quarterback play has been pretty poor for these top teams, I'd say, across the country for the most part. And, I mean, it's maybe the expectations and things like that, but some guys you thought would be top of draft boards for this 2026 teams are having second thoughts right now, but there has been some decent play, just not from the guys most talked about coming into the season.
All right, buy or sell, Alex. This year's wave of quarterbacks overrated.
I'm gonna buy as well. And I had a big eye on this class because I want the Steelers to pick up one of these guys here in the draft.
Yeah.
But
it might fall to you.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. But no, I thought DJ Lagway was going to be the best quarterback in the country coming into this year. We saw what happened to Death Valley last weekend. Lenora Sellers, it's a shame what happened last week. Hopefully he can get back on the field, but no, I'm buying. I love the Devin Dampier pull. I had a New Mexico dynasty last year.
There you go.
NCAA.
Yeah.
I love playing with him, but no, he's been great at Utah. And but yeah, I'm buying. I mean, the hype was so high for these guys, and we've seen what happened with Arch, with DJ. Cade's had some struggles over there at Clemson. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but for now I'm buying.
All right, let's have a little bit of fun here. Buy or sell, the final one. Joey Aguilar could win the Heisman Trophy. Aguilar's odds to become the first player at Tennessee to win the Heisman jumped from plus 5,000 last week to plus 1,200 after he threw for 371 yards and 4 touchdowns in the overtime loss to Georgia. Now, keep in mind, folks, he could win. This is not saying that he will win. I'm going to buy that he could win. I'm serious. If Tennessee is able to finish at like 10-2, 11-1, be a college football playoff team, and Joey Aguilar continues to put up the numbers that he's putting up, where he's not the reason why Tennessee lost on Saturday, he's not the reason why Tennessee has 2 losses at the end of the season, then I think he could definitely be up there, because in terms of quarterback play, the Heisman Trophy is usually a quarterback award. There hasn't been a guy that has come on stronger to begin the season than Joey Aguilar. You could throw in like a Devin Dampier, but I don't think he has enough national recognition to be able to win that award. If you're in the SEC and you're putting up 371 yards against one of the best teams in the country, I think that says something. Yes, he had 2 interceptions, but one of them was not on him. It was a slip and fall from either Braylon Staley or Mike Matthews, and the second one was kind of virtually a punt. But I don't think it's crazy right now to say that he could win, so I will buy it. Brett probably does not agree on this one. I'm interested to see what he has to say.
This is too far out there for me right now. But you said could. I mean, anybody could win the Heisman.
Yes.
You know, like I could think of 4 or 5 quarterbacks I'd have ahead of him right now. Beck, Mateer, Taylor Green's been awesome.
Yeah,
people like that. Dampier. I mean, Dante Moore, but he could. I mean, that's asking a lot, but yeah, I mean, for us to make the playoff, and if the defense isn't change, and we're having to score 35 plus a game to win, Cam Ward-esque, overcoming your defense, and yeah, he could be in New York. So
okay,
I don't know, not as bad as you thought, but
there we go. I'll
go with you for a little bit.
Alex, buy or sell?
I certainly think he could win it, but I'm going to sell as well. I think the big question will be, can he keep the turnovers down? And that was his problem last year. I, for one, can foresee a game in the future where his aggressive quarterback play might get him in trouble, say on the road at Alabama here in a few weeks. But, there's, like you said, there's no other guy that's really come on this strongly, especially with the circumstances that he came in with, not having a chance to learn the offense through spring. But, I think it will even out at some point, and, his numbers aren't going to be good enough to compete for that title at the end.
All right, well, that was buy or sell. Real quick on that Heisman Trophy topic, folks, if you want to go place a bet on Joey Aguilar to win the Heisman Trophy, you can get some nice odds on VIP Play, as Aguilar is tied for 8th on the list. The numbers I read were obviously some more of the more public books and consensus books, but Carson Beck at 1 is at plus 500. Dante Moore, number 2, at plus 900. Jeremiah Smith, a wide receiver, at plus 1,000, tied with John Mateer. You go down the list, you see Devin Dampier at plus 2,000, Jackson Arnold at plus 2,000, Joey Aguilar also at plus 2,000 to win the Heisman Trophy on VIP Play. If you want to bet that, go to the VIP Play app. Make sure to use the code FANRUN, all caps, to claim $100 in bonus bets when you place your first bet of $5 or more. Gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 years or older and located in Tennessee to bet. All right, fun segment right there, buy or sell. When we come back, we'll talk Thursday Night Football right here on the Playbook, presented by VIP Play on Fan Run Radio.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Hey, Vols fans, Cody Brown here. I grew up right here in Tennessee and know what it means when someone says, I've got your back. That's why you can trust Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee. Whether it's your home, your vehicle, your family's future, or the business you built from the ground up, we will show up for all of your insurance needs. We are Tennesseans who understand what matters, which is doing right by you. Insurance is not all about just paperwork and policies, but it's about the people we insure every day. So if you want insurance that hits home, give me a call at 865-992-3871. Go Vols.
Hi, this is Bo Kregner from the Kregner Group at Realty Executives, and I know there's a lot of choices here in East Tennessee when it comes to choosing a realtor. Here's why the Kregner Group is different. At the Kregner Group, our motto is walking by faith, serving others. It's how I live my life. It's how I run my business. Here at the Kregner Group, we're committed to doing real estate the right way. Faith, honesty, integrity. The Kregner Group. Call me anytime at 865-742-1035 or visit my website at bonoshouses.com.
It's football time at Tennessee, so crack open a cold beer that doesn't fumble the flavor. Garage Beer is 100% beer-flavored beer. No gimmicks, just cold beer. Built for bonfires, backyards, and beating Bama. Garage Beer is proud to be brewed right here in the Volunteer State. So pick up a 12-pack today and look for the drive celebrating Football Fridays at select Garage Beer headquarters around town this fall. American-owned, Tennessee-brewed Garage Beer. 100% beer-flavored beer.
In a world filled with deadlines and screens, sometimes we forget the simple joys of life, days filled with special moments. At Inward Half, we understand the essence of these moments. Feel the difference between our breathable fabrics and flexible apparel as you disconnect from the hustle and bustle and reconnect with what truly matters. Inward Half, simple luxury for on and off the course.
Vol fans, reimagine your home at Broadway Carpets and Flooring for any remodeling or building needs. With a variety of carpets, rugs, hardwood, vinyl, and stone, Broadway has all the flooring and installation options you're looking for, including pet-resistant products like Pet Perfect Carpet from Shaw Floors. Visit their showroom in downtown Knoxville or the location in West Knoxville located on Kingston Pike near Pellissippi Parkway today.
Ready to launch your career? Axle Logistics is a leading third-party logistics company where excellence is an energy. With an award-winning culture, Axle proves that positive outcomes come from a positive environment and a work hard, play hard mentality. At Axle, the drive for success is infectious. And with an uncapped commission structure, hard work isn't just noticed, it's rewarded. For those with big goals and even bigger dreams, Axle Logistics is the place to start your career.
All right, back here on the Playbook, presented by VIP Play. We appreciate you hanging out with us on this Thursday afternoon from K-Town, whether you're listening on the free Fan Run Radio app, 105.7 FM or 1340 AM here in K-Town on the local dial, or on the X/YouTube live stream. However you're listening or watching, we do appreciate your time. All right, so we'll switch over to the NFL with Thursday Night Football tonight. Week 3 of the NFL season begins with two ships passing in the night. One of those ships is the 2-0 Buffalo Bills. Looks like a high-powered luxury yacht. Just might sail to the ultimate glory. On the other side, you've got a beat-up vessel that is riddled with rust, and maybe the steering wheel doesn't work right. You got a couple of broken windows. A disaster. That's the Miami Dolphins, 0-2 on the season. Not a good start for them. Either way, all aboard for Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime. Reigning MVP and weekly miracle maker Josh Allen welcomes Tua Tagovailoa and his floundering Fins under the lights tonight in Buffalo. And kind of what to watch for in this one. If you can tell, I'm not super excited for this one, but hey, I might not have an option. Rice and Charlotte is going to set college football back 100 years tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm watching for tonight is, can Miami show any life? Can Miami show something in the first? They had some moments last week where it looked like they could maybe piece some things together, but the Bills have had their number. I mean, really, ever since Tua Tagovailoa has been there and Mike McDaniel has been there. Buffalo, if you might remember 2 years ago, this was a game in the final week of the season. It was Sunday Night Football. They were fighting for, position in the AFC East, and the Dolphins were at home. The Bills came in there and, almost fumbled away the game, but found a way to win. No matter the circumstance, this Buffalo team has had this Dolphins number. So I look for Miami to show something, show some life. I don't like the vibes around this team, though. Tua Tagovailoa said either yesterday or earlier this morning that Josh Allen is just better than him at everything. He's
not wrong.
Well, he's not wrong, but you can't say that. That's just. But you're going into a matchup with him, you can't glaze him right before you go up against him.
He knows what he's about to happen.
That is a wild statement.
Last year they played him, he was knocked out.
Well,
I understand what you're saying though, but
you know what I mean.
I like the honesty
you've
too.
Got to show some confidence.
He doesn't have any, clearly. And he's also been hit in the head a couple times. More than a couple.
Well, that is true. And I'm not laughing because, he's been concussed. But
we're not laughing at
that. I think that's a wild statement to make 2 weeks into the season going up against a divisional opponent. The guys was better. You play the same position, and you make a ton of money just Tua Tagovailoa. You can't say that stuff. That quote just shows me where this team is. There's not an identity. Mike McDaniel is the guy that, is at the corner store vape shop. He's just a guy that I don't think is respected by this roster. And after the whole gimmick of, all the gimmick plays they ran a couple of years ago have been figured out, Miami's just kind of the team of the past and the team that has a weird coach and a quarterback that is not very good. I call him Little Arm Tua. If you've been listening to me over the last couple of years, you know that. But I'm just looking for Miami to show something because they do have a good offensive group. They have, a Tyreek Hill and a Jalen Waddle and a Davon Achane. And, I think if Tua is just able to get the ball out to those guys quickly, they'll make the plays. But, I think tonight if they lose and lose big time, how much longer does Mike McDaniel stick around on the sideline? Let me ask you guys that. Okay. How much longer will Mike McDaniel stay on the sideline if they lose by, let's say, 14 plus, 17 plus tonight? What week could you see a firing?
Could be as soon as tonight. I don't know. If it goes bad, you're 0-3. The division's pretty much over at that point because Buffalo will be 3-0.
Yeah.
I think you just got to, in the words you use, abandon ship, I guess. I don't even know if there's ship left to dock. But,
yeah.
But yeah, it's a tough situation. Maybe you start with trading pieces, a Tyreek Hill, if there's any trade value there, something like that. But I can't. They've shown no improvement. I think they probably should have won last week. That game was a definitely winnable game. But so they had some life. Tyreek had 100 yards receiving. But yeah, I don't see him. He's not making it through the season for sure. I don't know what week you get to. What are your options if you do fire him? You have to look at that. You just place an interim guy on there. I don't know what you do. So
yeah,
he's not making it through the season, I don't think.
Alex.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's interesting about the Dolphins for me because we've seen their offense have the ability to be one of the best in football, and they've been electric in years. And Mike McDaniel's gotten a lot of praise for that. And now, like you said, we've kind of seen that fizzle out. But I still think when you've got a guy like Jalen Waddle, you've got a guy like Tyreek Hill, you've got Achane, had a great year last year. You got to find a way to win games, and you can't be 0-3. That Patriots team, not the greatest. I mean, not the greatest team in the world. You got to win that game. And
They were
there's
embarrassed week 1.
exactly,
by Danny Dimes.
exactly. And I mean, we'll see how the rest of the year pans out. I mean, they've got the Jets coming up after this game. Then they got the Panthers. So 2 games theoretically you should win, but who knows what happens tonight, and who knows what happens, after this game with the coaching position. But yeah, AFC is a tough conference, and I'm with Brett. I don't think he gets through this season if things keep going the way they're going.
Let me make this comparison for the Dolphins. The Dolphins, to me, are kind of like the Costco guys. Like when they were rolling, things looked good. They were putting up 70 points, against the Broncos a couple of years ago. For the Costco guys, when they were doing all those skits, everyone loved it. And now it's like, man, those guys are still doing that. Like now they're doing like Crumble cookie reviews from their car. Like,
yeah,
damn, that's what they're doing now. And it's like you look at the Dolphins, like, dang, they're still trying to do all. Like it's kind of just everyone's figured it out. It's already happened. It's already unfolded.
The rest of the league's the Rizzler.
Exactly.
He's up
Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm impressed with
he's
that.
just up and left him.
But
3
exactly.
big booms for Brett.
There you go. But it's true though. Like when it was working, it was the talk of the town. It was great. It was a lot of fun. But now it's like you've gone on with this too long. The same thing like the Josh Heupel offense, right? Like where you knew after last season you needed to make adjustments and tweaks. I don't feel like McDaniel has done that for Miami, to where this year for Tennessee, you start to see pre-snap motion. You bring the guys in and they're not, sideline to sideline anymore. Like, I don't feel like the tweaks have been there for McDaniel, and the roster has kind of stayed the same over the last 3 to 4 years, at least offensively. And they are good players, but it's just the same cast, and they've lost guys defensively that have been impactful in years past. And it's kind of like we're doing this again. We're still doing the boom and doom. We're still doing that, 3 years after the fact. So the Dolphins to me are kind of like the Costco guys. And I know that might be a crazy comparison, but I feel like it makes sense to what we saw this team be a couple of years ago. I'll switch it now to the Bills, because I think the Bills are a team that are really good offensively, but I would say this is a team far from perfect. I think defensively, there are a lot of concerns. And I think you saw that in Sunday Night Football against the Ravens. And I think they're a team that doesn't have a ton of money to play with in terms of possibly adding a guy or trading for a guy. But I look at their secondary as a huge weakness. And if this is a team that wants to win the Super Bowl or help make it to the Super Bowl, they've got to go get some reinforcements in their secondary, because that's going to end up biting them in crucial moments come January. And I think that's the only criticism I have of this team right now. Josh Allen playing at a high level once again. I think the ability for him to make do with his receivers is kind of Mahomes-esque, kind of Mahomey, if you will, where Patrick Mahomes over the last couple of years, they've had to get cheap at certain positions. They've moved off of Tyreek Hill. They said, we're going to invest in the defensive line. We're going to invest in the O-line and pay Travis Kelce. They've had to get cheap at receiver and running back, but it's still been able to work. I think you're seeing that in Buffalo now, where you're relying on a Keon Coleman and Al-Shakir Shakir at wide receiver, relying on those guys' cheaper assets, but it's still working. So I give Josh Allen a lot of credit for that. I just think the secondary has got to be fixed, even though they put a lot of work into the defensive line over the last couple of off seasons. Ed Oliver continues to be strong. Bosa is a little bit more of a name, I think, at this point in his career, but he's gotten off to a solid start. I just feel like the Bills are a little bit away from being, I could see this being the AFC Championship team and the representative in the Super Bowl. When you guys watch the Bills, what stands out to you, and what do you believe needs to be improved as they go forward?
I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's very dependent on Josh Allen. They go as he goes, and he's really good at what he does. I mean, what he does with limited weapons is pretty remarkable. Obviously, he didn't see this one coming from the small school he did, but yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's simple. Like I think it's wide receiver, and I think it's the secondary for sure. I think they're good in the front seven. Ed Oliver's a really good player. People like that. So I think it seems like a simple fix. And they've tried to fix it with Keon Coleman they drafted, and I think they went out and tried to get Amari Cooper. That didn't really work either. He's just obviously he's retired now. So I don't know what your options are at receiver. You kind of got to see, do they make a play for a Tyreek Hill or somebody like that's in the division, that's wanting out of a situation. But yeah, I mean, I think it's one of two things: a corner or a wide receiver.
Alex, any concerns for the Bills for you?
I think it would also be that receiver position. I love Brett's point about Tyreek Hill there. I know that there's been some talk around him getting moved out of Miami, but I just want to address the kind of the vibe around the Bills. I mean, these past few years, everybody's been saying this is the team in the AFC this year. This is the team. This is the team. We've been hearing that for 4 or 5 years at this point, and they can't get past Mahomes. So this is the year. I mean, they have to be there this year. I think you got a guy. I mean, Josh Allen is. I think he's the best quarterback in the AFC, best quarterback in the league. But I mean, he can't carry this entire team. He has, and I just think he has to. They have to get past Kansas City this year and get to that. They have to get to a Super Bowl, and I think just the vibes around this team are starting to shift in a negative way if things don't go well towards the end of the year. But I think it's receiver for me if I had to pick a spot. If they added Tyreek Hill, I think that would totally change this dynamic.
Well, you mentioned Josh Allen being the best quarterback in the NFL. I've had many of these debates amongst my friends. It always, it's a fun topic to talk about. I think Allen and Lamar are the two best guys in the regular season, but until I see someone dethrone Patrick Mahomes in the postseason, I think he's still the best player in the postseason.
And not have to worry about him this year.
Well, they're
0-2.
That may be true, but
things are not well
there. I would be shocked if Kansas City does not find a way.
Their schedule's brutal. They're not. They can't do anything. It's 90% of their offense is through Mahomes.
Xavier Worthy's going to get back this week. Rashee Rice will come back. They'll have a bona fide wide receiver 1 and 2. I think that's got to play into it. I mean, Rashee Rice, before he got injured, was a really good player. And he kind of took on that role as Xavier Worthy had to do last year, where Rice at the end of the season 2 years ago had to kind of develop into that wide receiver 1, and he was that in the postseason. Like, Rashee Rice 2 years ago was really strong in the postseason. Worthy had to do that last year because Rice was out. I think both those guys together give a better receiving core than what the Bills have right now.
Yeah, but and the difference maker's Allen's better than Mahomes right now.
Not in the postseason, though.
But I'm saying I can't get by him. I don't think the Chiefs are going to make the postseason right now. You can't start 0-2 and make the postseason with their schedule. Have you seen their schedule?
Their
division.
I just don't see a world where the Chiefs do not find a way to make it to the postseason. I think that's.
I agree.
They need a lot.
Yeah, but it is only week 2 or week 3. So
they've never been in this position where they're 0-2.
I think you're right, but if there's a guy that can get out of that hole, you have to think it's Mahomes and Andy Reid, right?
I mean, yeah, I love Mahomes. I love the Chiefs, but
yeah.
I mean, I got to be honest. I don't like what I'm seeing. They can't run the ball. It makes Mahomes a sitting duck. I don't know if he's going to make it through the season with no O-line. Like, it's not good. They're in the toughest division in football. Like, the Giants might beat them this weekend in New York.
That would be good.
Oh, no. Come on, no. Russell Wilson's.
He was impressive.
Almost 500 yards last week
against the Cowboys defense.
I haven't seen enough from the Chiefs that they can go in and score more than 20 points.
The Cowboys have a junior varsity defense. They're no.
Then they get the Ravens after that.
They
got to go to Jacksonville. No way.
Well, there we go. Now we're talking. That's a tough matchup.
That's a Monday night game.
I know. Well, you got to put the Jaguars on primetime TV. Everyone's calling for that.
Yeah, that's the reason.
Hey. Speaking of the Jaguars, we'll head to a break after this. Jaguars play Houston this weekend and Duval.
You need Tennessee to do you a favor.
Well, right now we're fine. Houston's 0-2.
Well, yeah, but I mean the Colts are 2-0.
Oh, you Titans fans.
I'm a Jaguars fan.
You're Jags fan. Okay, good. Exactly. I'm sick of Titans fans, man.
Please. Give me tell me about it.
There's a few on this other.
All this Cam Ward, all this hoopla.
A lot of this.
Not been much of it though.
Oh, well, yeah. more of the playbook when we return right here on Fan Run Radio.
Check out our new and improved website at fanrunradio.com.
Hey, folks, if you're in need of a lawyer, you need to call my friend Jerry Givens. I've known Jerry since high school and can personally vouch for him. He's East Tennessee through and through, and if you're going through a divorce, bankruptcy, or a DUI case, you'll need someone you can trust on your side to help you navigate the local legal system. You can trust Jerry Givens. Call the law offices of Jerry Givens today at 865-801-9250 to schedule your free consultation. That's 801-9250.
Barley's has live music on weekends, general team trivia on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and now live sports trivia courtesy of the Knoxville Trivia Guys every Thursday night upstairs. The game starts at 7 p.m. and is free to play for everyone, so head on down to the Old City and show off your sports knowledge and win gift cards to Barley's. Use those gift cards to buy some delicious food and drinks, and you can take it all in with their wide selection of TVs and indoor projectors. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
When it's past high noon, it's time for a vodka soda made with a vodka you've actually heard of. I'm talking White Claw vodka soda made with White Claw premium vodka. JB Smooth only drinks vodka soda made with the world's smoothest vodka.
And you can too. Pick you up a bottle of the triple wave filtered vodka that's been distilled 5 times. White Claw premium vodka comes in 4 flavors: black cherry, mango, pineapple, and just vodka. You haven't had vodka like this. No one has. White Claw premium vodka. Please drink responsibly.
Got a problem tree looming over your home? Call ECR Total Landscapes. Whether it's trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, our certified pros get the job done safely and efficiently. We're licensed, insured, and ready 24/7 for emergency calls. Big or small, we cut them all. ECR Total Landscapes. Call now for a free estimate, 865-384-2012, and mention promo code FANRUN for free stump grinding on any tree removal now through the end of the year. Also, visit us at ecrtotallandscapes.com.
All right, back here on the Playbook, presented by VIP Play. We appreciate you hanging out with us, everyone, over the last couple of hours. Wrapping things up with our final thoughts. So next weekend, Penn State, Oregon, Georgia, Alabama. Big matchups in college football. The lines on Circus Sports just came out. I want you guys to guess what you think the spreads are for each game. So Penn State, Oregon.
Penn State
Where's that?
6.
It's at Penn State?
It's at Penn State.
Yeah, at Penn State.
6.
Okay, 6. Brett? Now, this is a guess. So don't go looking it up.
No, I'm not. I'm going to say 2.5.
2.5. All right. 3. Penn State minus 3.
The home field, basically.
At home
right?
against the Ducks. Georgia at home against Alabama.
Georgia, 7.5.
7.5.
9.
9. Try 3.5.
Oh, my.
2 really short spreads for next week.
Very
in
interesting.
CFB. I don't think Georgia loses at home this season. And, we were talking about their schedule earlier. I think they're very good. And the way the schedule plays out, I think
they're both at 7:30.
Isn't that terrible?
That's a shame.
That's horrible.
Is Penn State, Oregon, NBC?
Yes.
Yeah. That's the thing.
That's the whiteout, too.
That's why you got to have 2 TVs, though.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I do, but I mean, that's still
yeah, I know you were talking about it earlier on Monday. You're good.
Man.
That is tough. The YouTube TV box will be in full effect across the country.
I was going to say, up in the press box, we've got the YouTube
at West
TV
Virginia.
Yeah, what time's that game? 3:30?
3:30, yeah, on Fox.
They're wearing throwback
Auburn,
uniforms,
Texas
so
A&M.
that'll be fun.
So
LSU, Ole Miss.
Will you travel to Starkville next week?
Yeah, we'll be at Starkville next weekend.
Okay.
Yep.
I've watched one game there. I was there for Dan Mullen's return in 2018.
Okay.
For Florida and Mississippi State. An okay environment. I was disappointed, and it was Dan Mullen's return, so maybe I expected it to be kind of chaotic, but he was well liked there, so it wasn't horrible. But I don't know. I've been to 12 out of the 16. I think 13 out of the 16 SEC venues. It's not very high up there on my list.
I'm excited for some cowbell, though.
Those cowbells. Those cowbells do get going, though.
I've heard so much about
I
it.
have to shut them up.
I'm excited.
But I feel like first quarter, they're more active than they are as the rest of the game goes on.
No, but that Arizona State game, it was like nonstop. I had to mute the TV.
It's a whiteout for Mississippi.
I mean, somebody must have been a fan in the announcer's booth because it was crazy at the end of that. Like when they was trying that goal line stand,
yeah,
it was wild, man. And it wasn't even packed house for that. It's gonna be worse. It's gonna be worse.
I thought it was a sellout.
I mean, it might have been, but it felt like there was empty seats. I don't know, which is crazy.
How many venues have you been to covering them?
Covering them, I've been to. I haven't been to any road. This is my first year on the football
Okay.
beat, so I haven't been. I was only in Atlanta to start this year. That's the only away place I've been. I was at Texas in 2018, as a West Virginia fan, and that place was.
Was that Will Greer? Was that the shootout?
Greer,
Yeah,
Gary Jennings,
good one.
Yep,
Yeah,
that was a good one. But yeah, that's SEC wise. I think those are the only two places. Oh, I've been to Kentucky as well as a fan. So,
yeah, I went to Kentucky in 2015.
It's okay.
It was okay.
As long as it's nice, I'm happy.
I'll tell you what was so underwhelming to me, and actually the atmosphere was great. Like it was a nice night. It was hot, and the game went on for 4 hours. But Oklahoma last year, Tennessee, Oklahoma, it just wasn't that loud.
Yeah,
I thought it was a cool stadium. It was a nice atmosphere, but I was disappointed with the noise factor.
Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting when Neyland Stadium's your home stadium, so you can compare everything to that.
Yeah,
I'm excited to go to Florida this year. That's the place that I have heard fantastic things.
Florida was the loudest pop I've ever heard outside of Neyland Stadium was Trevor Etienne. He took it up 64 yards down the left sideline, and it was roaring.
That's the one I'm most looking forward to this year.
It's interesting also going to these campuses to see like the nightlife, just see what the students look like.
Mm-hmm.
Florida was one of the only ones where it was like, wow, this is kind of a different venue. A lot of just different people that I'd see from like a Georgia or an Alabama or an Ole Miss or something like that. Just I don't know what it was. Just
in what way? Like
I got a different vibe from them.
Okay.
I don't know.
Like crazy. Or?
I said it was a lot of fades and chains.
Okay. I know exactly what you mean now. Yeah.
But like you go to Ole Miss and it's everyone's buttoned up.
Yeah.
You go to Alabama, everyone's buttoned up.
Yeah.
Or you got really country people. I just didn't really feel that in Gainesville. But I will say, Gainesville's a really cool place. The Swamp Bar and Grill there I really enjoyed, and we hung out there during the day.
Okay.
But traveling to these games is awesome. A lot of fun.
I'm pumped.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for a Thursday edition of The Playbook presented by VIP Play. For Brent Hullander and Alex Sarkis, I'm William Pattison. We appreciate you hanging out with us. The Drive with Russell Smith, Bob Baskerville, the Bear, and Walker coming up next on Fan Run.